Hello and welcome back to the Dirt Podcast, the number one podcast of LAD, because it is the only podcast of LAD. Thank you for joining us once again. Today we don't have a guest. We were supposed to, but there was no space for us to interview them where they're at. So we're gonna get them on tomorrow, bring them over here to have more space. So today it's just three of us again. Me, obviously, the host. We got Gerardo, and we got David. Okay, so today we have a couple of topics. We have a couple of questions to just throw into the group, see where it goes, and let's see how this goes. All right, Gerardo, you said you had a topic. Go ahead.
Yeah, your work experience.
Oh,
Any crazy stories?
There's been a couple. So I'll talk about from the beginning, like chronological order.
How long were you in the work?
About 7 months.
7 months.
7 months, almost 8, I think.
So like,
Since June last year.
oh, wow.
So like 7 months. There's a lot of like crazy. Oh, recently. Okay, so recently the craziest thing that's happened. We have a tip jar, right? And some guy tried to take the tip jar, and not even like some people just like take $1. Because let's say this is the jar, right? Let's say this is the money, and it's like kind of popping out. So they just like nitpick and they just grab it and they just go. But this guy, he was like, nah, I want the whole thing. So so there was a woman. I was taking a woman's order, and then this guy, he comes up, and he's just standing there. And I was like, oh, he's probably gonna ask her to buy him something, because that's what some people do, or like ask for some money. And then he like slowly grabs the tip jar, and then just like tries to yank it, but it's like tied down to the counter.
Oh yeah.
So he's like trying so hard, but like he can't.
So, what do you do within those situations?
What do they train you to do?
Yeah.
Well, the shift leader came over and he took over. So my first thought, there was this cardboard thing that one of the shift leaders made just for these kind of situations. So it's just a cardboard, but he rolled it up, and then he taped it.
You're gonna beat him. You're gonna beat him like a cat. Go, get out.
I was gonna grab it, and then the shift leader started screaming from all the way over there, and he came over, and he was like, "Hey, what are you doing? What are you doing? Get away!" And then I was like, "You want me to pass it?" I was about to grab it and pass it to him. And I was like, "Oh no, he got it." And then, but also I was just like too tired that day. I was like, I don't really want to deal with this shit.
See, that's the thing. Like people with like jobs that get paid minimum wage. I personally thank you for dealing with bullshit like that. Have you ever had have you ever had like a Karen at your desk where they had like several coupons where?
So we don't have coupons. So we have an app, right? And you scan the QR code and you get rewards. You get points, you get rewards.
Oh, like the McDonald's app type?
Yeah. So some people, you could only do one per like every time. So some people they don't read it correctly, right? So one of them is like, if you sign up, you get a $3, $3 off for the first time, and then $2 off for the second time. But it's only for $10 or more, and they only get like one thing. And it's like, oh, we can't put it because it's only for $10. And they're like, oh, you should have told me. I got the app just to get the rewards, but you're now telling me I can't use the rewards. I was like, I'm sorry, man, we can't do anything. That's how it works. You gotta spend $10 or more to get the reward. But some people just don't understand that I don't make the prices of the smoothie. They think I'm the one that's like, yeah, I like that. No, some people come up and like they're old, right? They're not old, but like they were like old. They came to the store like early, and now like the prices have changed, and they're like, oh, why is the price so high? Why is it so high? Why is like?
Hey, what are the prices?
It's like.
Is it like size?
It's like, yeah, it's small, medium, and large. It's like 8 for small.
8 for a small.
It's $7.94, but basically $8.
Nah. How small is it? How small?
It's like, I wish I had it. Probably it's like about like this.
Like that? The green bottle?
Like probably about this.
Nah.
And then like about this wide.
Yeah.
And then
Is it like the McDonald's size cup type shit?
No, that's smaller. So,
And then the medium.
you can take it. So people are like, oh, why is it so expensive? I don't want to pay for this. And they're like, okay, then just don't get it. That's what I want to say. I was like, then just don't get it. You don't have to get it. And some people just, sometimes I do mess up, but then they take it like too hard. Like sometimes like I forget to scan something, or like I forget to put it in, and then like I'm just like,
Yo, how dare you make mistakes?
exactly. They're like, but it's like when I was first just learned how to use the reg, and I'm just like crap, because there's a line, and then she's like coming in, she's like, oh, she's so loud, and I'm just like trying to get the order in, and they're just like they're telling me this, or from the the side, they're like making orders, and he's like, oh, is that for her? Is that for her? I was like, hold up, and then he's trying to like tell me. I was like, okay, and I missed something. I was like, oh, I'm sorry, excuse me, kid, I forgot to put that in.
Oh, yeah, I see the thing.
And then she's like, oh my god, just like hurry up. I was like, your smoothie's not even ready yet. Just give me a second, I'll put it in, and then you go get your smoothie, get the fuck out of here.
See, some people.
Hold up. And then recently there was this person. His mom wanted a pen, and then she was like, oh, but I also want a pretzel. And before I asked her, oh, which one do you want? She walked away. I was like, okay. And then her son came up, and he's like, oh, is my mom's pretzel ready? And I was like, oh, she didn't tell me which one she wants. Which one does she want? There's a sweet one and there's a savory one. So he's like, oh, she wants 2 sweet ones. I was like, okay, that's fine. So I put them in the, and then another one comes. There was like 3 people behind him, right? So then I take the other 3 orders, and then I have to go help the other guy because he's like kind of new. So I had to go help him, make sure it doesn't get backed up. Help him. It was like 2 smoothies, and I help him. And I come back, put the pretzels in the oven, like 20 seconds. Then I take them out, give it to him, and another guy comes in, and it's like in a little bag. And then he's like, oh, can I get a bag, like one with handles?
Yeah.
I was like, but like it was in the middle, right as this guy was ordering. I was like, give me 1 second, I'm trying to take this order. And he's like, oh my god, bro, like, hurry up, it's just a bag. I was like, and I ignore him, I just take his order. And I was like, can I get a bag, please? I'm like looking, he's like, hurry up. I was like, fuck. And I was like, yo, can you pass me a bag? Because they're on the other side over there. They're not under the reds, so they're on where you get the smoothies. So I was like, can you pass me a bag? I was like, why? Just pass me a bag. I was like, here. I wanted to throw it at him, but I handed it off. There's a lot of stories I could tell. Go ahead.
That's the thing. Like some people. Just,
Oh, by the way, I'm sorry. I'm just kidding.
biggest pet peeve, by the way, just letting everybody know this is perfectly what Gustavo did in the last episode we had.
Yeah, I was listening to it, and I just like, I keep. I was like, as soon as David talks, oh, hold on, wait a minute, real quick. All right, go ahead.
Anyways,
I'm not recording. I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
I will kill you.
Go ahead.
I'm amazed actually how like a lot of customer service or even like cashiers or anybody within the outer fields of work deal with that shit and still get paid like $15 an hour. That is probably like the hardest situations to ever be in. And sometimes I barely have enough anger issues just to not smack the shit out of somebody.
Yeah.
How much do you get paid?
Yeah. How much do you,
15 an hour.
15?
to deal with that shit? I can't imagine.
No, but it's like, it's not as bad. I say
Hey, yo, I pay for vacation too, right? Holidays, you know?
no holidays.
Overtime?
No, I haven't worked overtime.
You
What was I
haven't
gonna
had to
say?
deal with enough white people today. Within
Yeah,
one day.
what's like
Hold
that
on.
minority?
Yeah, with the majority of
Oh,
what you
it's
work with.
it's mainly white people. There's some Hispanics,
Yeah.
and then there's a couple like sometimes like
Asian.
foreigners. There's Asians too. There's like people from France. There's people from England. You can tell from their accent. I've met at least like 4 people from England and like 3 people from France. Like their accent, and they even like talk French like to each other while they're waiting. I was like, wow, that's crazy. But it is like Times Square. It's not like somewhere. So like people come in and like it's
you
over.
get tourists.
Yeah. So, but I say overall, I think it's better where I work compared to like some other people who have to deal with like worse shit. Like people at McDonald's or people at like fast food restaurants. It's like it's way worse.
Yeah.
So I hats off to them. Like Like I honestly probably have it easier than they do. Like yeah, it's like a couple people, but like they probably have it like once every day. Like it's probably once like maybe 4 times a week.
Yeah, no, I could just imagine the nightmare of McDonald's. So like especially around schools where these kids are yelling, screaming, especially the ghetto parts of the area where they'll start like smacking, going back and forth. I had this one experience where I was ordering McDonald's, right? And these kids are like smacking the glass like if they were 5 years old. And this lady has to stop them. Like she's like, "Hey, what are you guys doing? You gotta fucking break it." And she got tired of her shift. She was like an hour away from her shift and then she was done. But like clearly, if I had to choose, I'd rather be in the morning shift because I feel like the afternoon shift is probably the worst shifts to get. Afternoon and like late, because you have to stay there for the whole time. So every single person that's weird and that comes out late, like no, you've never seen like a weird person in the morning because it's mostly relaxed. Everybody's too tired to be actually weird. Mostly the bums, but what were you gonna say?
I mean, not really weird, but there's like in the morning there's just like homeless people. Besides that, there's like not really much to deal with.
So there's really nothing to deal with as a morning shift person. Besides like waking up, having to wake up at like 6, 5 in the morning and be like, oh shit, I have to deal with this. But then you get out at like 1, 2 o'clock and then you get your money. Yeah.
Okay, so I agree with that, except for weekends. If it's a weekend, I'd like mid shifts, like mid shifts, because I don't really want to work. If I work at all, yeah, morning shifts. But if it's like a Saturday, then probably like mid shifts. Just because like I don't want to wake up too early.
Yeah.
But I have had to work. I don't work Saturdays, Sundays that often. Today I do. This week I do. I work Sunday, but usually I don't. And that's pretty good. Monday through Friday, or just like Monday, like it's just the weekday.
Like, what would you say is the busiest day
The busiest day?
besides the weekend?
Yeah. No, the weekends are actually pretty slow.
What the fuck?
Yeah, they're like really slow. It's weird. Like it's so maybe it's just because of the winter, but even before that, it was like slow. Like there would be bursts of like 10 people at once, and then like one person every 30 minutes. But the busiest day would probably be either Friday. It's like Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday. Those 3, because it's like near the end of a week. But recently we've gotten really busy. We've gotten like hella people because it's gotten warmer. Last week it was so busy, but this week it's been pretty like okay.
So I have a question. So how do you, for anybody that's trying to get a job, how would you tell them to go about it?
Okay, so first it's like looking for a job. You know, just you could use like Indeed. That's just like job searching. You could go. I actually got my job from a Facebook group that like posts job sites that are hiring. If you actually get an interview, first you want to be well dressed, obviously. Don't want to.
What did you go in?
I just went like plain t-shirt, like jeans, like white sneakers, and then you want to make sure like you don't want to break eye contact with them, and when they're talking to you, look at them, and then like if you need a second, take a second, breathe in, and then talk, because you don't want to stumble your words, and you want to make sure you look presentable and you look like, even if you don't have experience, you want to make it seem like you do, or you
know what you're doing.
You know what you're doing.
Yeah.
And make sure if you're gonna like tell your flaws, make it in a way that's like you're working on it. So like let's say like, oh, I'm not that fast, but I've been working to like multitask. Like do something like that. Make it seem like you're actively trying to better yourself for the job.
So, back to what I was saying though, like, I don't understand. I could barely stand like a ratchet chick for about like 5 minutes before like getting annoyed. I don't know how people in like works or working areas go about it. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So, I can't imagine how like ratchet, like staying in a ratchet area of a place for that long and having to listen to them, and you're forced and you're paid to listen to them, because on the outside you can just say fuck you or smack the shit out of them, but at work you can't do that. You definitely cannot do that. You have to hold yourself together, and if you say anything, it will be used against you, and you'll get quote and you'll fired. And I'm just amazed by that, and I give hats off to whoever has to deal with that shit. 'Cause at the end of the
But not even sometimes like those, you see those rich areas and it'd be like white women throwing drinks at the Starbucks employee or some shit. Aren't you afraid of like some shit like that happening?
Not really. There.
Or like
I
did they
mean,
come close?
I think like once or twice. Yeah. They've gotten angry because sometimes. Well, when I was first starting, it's always like near the beginning because like that's when I'm just like starting to learn. Sometimes like we have these sherbets, they're like ice cream. You scoop them into the smoothie. Sometimes they're like watery, so it doesn't make the smoothie thick. So I have to like balance out the liquid to make sure it's not so liquidy. Like it comes out.
You put liquid with the ice cream.
So it's like it's a base. So it's either milk or like a juice that we put. Then we put either sometimes sherbet, like the ice cream, and then the fruits, and then ice to make it, thick.
Yeah.
And sometimes it doesn't come out like thick. Then I had it, and they get mad, and I'm just like, I'm sorry, I'll redo it. And like I feel like sometimes they just want it. Like I see it, like they have it like this, and it looks like they're about to throw it, but it's like move it out. Just like,
Is there like a glass window? The guys are there in...
No. So let me try. Let's say this is the counter, right? This is the counter, and then behind it, this is the oven.
Yeah.
And then there's just like this long, like table, and you have an orange machine, the sink, a carrot machine, and then another sink. And then there's a little space to go in,
Yeah.
and then like the reg. And then there's a hallway, like a little space to go in, and then there's another long table. And at the end of that table is where you give the smoothies, but there's like no glass or anything. It's just like just give it to
plastic either? Or
no. Only on the reg, cause like in front of it.
Yeah, exactly.
But that's like it. Yeah.
So like the wall for the counter, right?
It's just a counter. It's like, and there's like nothing really stopping anyone just like to throw it. Luckily, that's never happened. But
What about your experience with like other employees?
what?
Other employees, like what was the worst experience?
Worst experience? I almost got in trouble because one of the employees had some substance on him.
Substance, yeah, because we didn't say fucking weed in the other fucking podcast.
Yeah, they had weed on him.
Yeah, you told me, right? Like, the whole episode.
So yeah, fired. Well, it wasn't because of the weed. It was because he had a.
Yo,
Yeah.
wait.
Okay, let me tell. So, first of all, he brought weed with him into work, and that shit stunk, obviously. But the worst part is, like, there's a coat rack, so to put your shit.
Yeah.
He put his bag right next to mine, and when I opened, like, for lunch, I went on break. I opened my bag. I put my sweater in there. I took out my sweater, so I'm thinking they probably thought it was me. Because they saw my sweater wrapped up, and they're like, "Oh, he probably has weed in there."
He was trying to switch up the drinks, you know, he was gonna mix in the marijuana.
For his business, nah.
I mean, you could do that though. There's like cannabis in smoothies.
Yeah, but we don't do that.
should.
It's just
You should.
like-
Has anybody gave
okay, hold up. So, I'm sorry. So after, so you know they call them like at the end of the day. The general manager was there, so she called them to the back room, and I was like, oh, just stay there, just like stay on the floor for like a little bit, and like he told me, it was like, oh, they think you have weed on you. I was like, what the fuck? I was like, you didn't say it was yours, or like you didn't say, oh no, he doesn't do that. No, you bitch.
Hey, what's wrong with you?
See, now it's time to go to the customers now. Has the customer...
No.
I have another story
No,
besides that.
what about the piece?
He had a piece on him at work. So I'm gonna break it down because there's a lot. I know like all sides of the story besides his.
Besides his walking into...
No, what you mean?
Okay, so it was on a Saturday, and he came in. It was 4 people working. He came in the morning shift with the shift leader. It was just her and him for like 2 hours until like 10, until one of them came in. And then when she left, it was him and then 2 other people, the shift leader and another team member. So he had it in his jacket, and apparently the shift leader always goes to the back to get his charger to charge his phone. He always does that. So he went to the back. He was like, but like the guy's jacket was like over his bag, so he was trying to move it to get to his bag, and then like as he's moving it, he feels the handle of the piece. So he's like, what the fuck? And then he's like, shit, this man has a piece on him. So he moves it, he takes out his charger, he goes about his day.
It was a Nerf gun.
And then
It was a Nerf gun, yeah, totally.
and then after he left, after the guy left with the piece, he said, oh, what, he asked the team member, what happens if a minor has a gun on him? Or like what if he has a,
He's younger than 18? Oh shit.
and then he's like, oh, what do you probably get arrested, get the gun taken away, and probably charged. And then he's like, oh, and then he jokingly said, why, you're thinking about bringing a gun? And he's like, no, because I saw a minor with it. He's like, who? And he's like, the guy that just left. He's like, really? He's like, yeah. And apparently the team member, he saw him like earlier in the day, like looking for something, but like not like looking for something. He was like scared, like vigorously, like grabbing, like touching everything, and he was like, I wonder what he's looking for. And then like while he was leaving, he was in the back because there's like a hallway and all the fridges are there. So he opened the fridge and it was like, I don't know what he was doing. I thought he was trying to like fix his, because he was like going like this, and then he was putting the piece in his pants for like to take it out, and so he got reported and he ended up getting fired.
Did you ever find out why he had the piece on him in the first place in the middle of work?
No,
Clearly he has ops. What the hell kind of question is that?
not for real.
I'm
I think
sorry,
he
yeah.
does.
Yeah, like that.
He's like,
Was he ghetto?
he was ghetto. He was from Astoria, I think. He was from Astoria, from Queens, but it's like,
It would be Queens.
no, don't talk bad about Queens, bro. That's not even all Queens.
Queens. No, that's crazy because like, why would you bring a piece into the middle of a fucking boba shop? Somebody's gonna shoot up a fridge like, yo, I know you from that.
Yeah, especially in Times Square. Like, shit could get
Yeah,
real crazy
especially
there.
in Times Square.
I don't fucking know. And I still don't know.
See, but here's the thing, like, there's literally, when you get off the train to Times Square, there's literally German Shepherd watchdogs, canine units that are literally right there. Have you ever seen them? Like, there's literally a group
Not from where he enters. Not really. There's like there are two like almost always like 2 policemen, but they don't have like dogs on. It's just them. They're just like looking. Yeah. I don't know,
But the thing about, like, in the middle of Broadway, you're definitely not going to pull out something, and there's so many police officers there that it's obviously not going to happen.
who knows? That's all I know.
What was the biggest tip you ever got?
Biggest.
Are there big tip in there? 'Cause my
Sometimes, so it's like the tip. You know how I told you there's a tip
Yeah,
jar?
yeah.
They split it up. So like we don't get personal tips often, but the biggest one I've gotten probably like $5.
What the fuck?
See, that's how you know the rich are grimy at times. But it's funny too, because like, if you are a waitress or like a waiter and you look fairly attractive, people would be like, oh yeah, they flirt with you, but then you get like a massive like $50 tip, so you just go with it.
Well, yeah, my mom works in.
So you're saying I'm ugly? What? Like,
I mean, no, just that you're a cashier.
My mom works in the city and she gets some big tips. Like, she be getting $100, and like Christmas she got $100 multiple times.
where's your mom work?
And she's a hairstylist.
That makes sense. They do.
Yeah, no.
Sí.
They valid.
Wait, when you get a haircut, do you tip your barber?
Yeah, well, so my haircut's like $18. I'll just give him 20. That's good.
I give them like $3, like a $3 tip usually.
And I usually it'll be like 5 or 2.
See, but here's the thing.
Yeah. So go ahead.
here's the thing. Like waiters and waitresses get paid like $6 and $7 an hour, but they also get tips as well. So it's either you have to be dummy thick to the bone, like Gerardo over here getting $90 an hour, or you have to have great hospitality. And that's the harder part about waitering. You have to be on your feet, you have to remember everything, you have to stay on your toes. I feel like being a waiter would be better than being a cashier. No offense.
But honestly, I don't know. This is the only job I've had, so I can't really say compare it to anything. But
So one last question.
oh yeah, what about Lee? Go ahead.
One last question. Let's say they give you a position for manager or some shit, but it's a contract for 3 years. Do you do it? You don't do it?
No.
No, it's a
they
higher
don't-
paying job, more benefits and shit.
Because it's 3 years. I don't really want to work at the same place for 3 years. Because it kind of gets like.
But you get paid more. You get a manager's salary.
Yeah. All right. Well, that wraps up the Dirt Podcast for today. Thank you guys for showing up. This is your co-host David saying goodbye and have a good time.